what they have done with this program in order to basically sell out and make a buck. I get that you wanted Deion Sanders to come in. I get it that he made something different. I get it that he changed the culture. He basically brought in guys who were nothing more than hired guns to come in. He ripped through the normal culture of college athletics and gave you a team that wins. Doesn't win big. You're still 9-4 at the end of one year, but at least you're on a run. Okay, I get it. They're all shook and excited right now that they're actually relevant again. People are talking about CU football. But to retire the numbers of two players who have been there for such a short period of time, including Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, are they retiring? Are they retiring Shedeur and Travis's number?
They're retiring Shedeur and Travis's numbers. They've both been there for a couple of years. The only reason they're doing it is to kiss Deion's ass and thank him for making them relevant again and putting money in their pocket. Look, they're changing. They're going away from, at Deion's insistence, they're going away from grass turf to an artificial turf because he doesn't want to play in the cold and wants to make sure that the turf has got some kind of heating to it. So, but it's his money that's brought him in. He's made them relevant again, so now everybody is spending money. But Sanders is a guy, I'm sorry, you lose me. 13-12 in 2 seasons, basically. I think he went 1-8 in conference play. Yeah, over 4,000 yards passing in a season, but that's because Daddy was running the offense and made every play to run for his kid. You still didn't get to a conference title game. You're still not at that point of a national title. It may get there, but I still am of the effect that Deion is going to blow out of that school. Now that Shedeur is gone, Deion Sanders is on mark time. He'll take the first big NFL gig that comes his way. He will walk and wipe his hands of it, and you guys are going to be back to irrelevance again.
So I actually don't think he'll take any NFL gig because I believe
back up. Yeah, certain ones. Yes,
certain ones. And now, okay, you're hitting on a bunch of issues here in a bunch of angles, and you're right on a lot of them. I'm just some of them I'm not going to argue. No.
What's the
it's not that it
point? Go ahead.
Well, and I'm not trying to be contentious. This is the way college athletics work these days.
Yeah.
And we can bark up a tree or not about how it works. If you want to be good or you want to be relevant, you find yourself a coach like Deion. You bring him in.
Got it.
He makes some noise. You bring in some the thing that happened with Deion was not just his name is Deion Sanders. He built Jackson State or Jacksonville State. I can't remember where it was. I think it was Jacksonville State. Jackson State, thank you. He built them into a friggin' power on the FCS level. And everyone's watching going, holy shit, what's going on there?
Which is not difficult to do if you've got Deion Sanders' name and you've got the current rules in college football, which allow players to come in as hired guns.
Yes.
And it allows you to make a team instead of spending years recruiting. That's the difference.
100%. So now, if you're Colorado, you absolutely do what they did. You almost sell your soul to the devil. So you're not arguing that. You're not arguing
not at all. You have to become relevant. You've got to make money. And in the changing conferences and the way things are right now, it was the only way for CU to get back on the national map.
Now, one thing Deion then did, Deion kind of took a page out of Calipari's book, whether you like John or not. Calipari said, I want these kids to be ready to go to the NBA. I want all my players to go to the NBA. Like, that was his goal. Deion's goal is I want these kids to be ready to go to the NFL. He knows where they've come from. They're not coming from successful families like you and I. A lot of them are coming from poverty-stricken areas.
Given.
They're the only shop to take care of mom. I'm not even going to say mom and dad. They're the only shop to take care of mom. It is fair. And so he built that program and he built that system for this reason. Do I believe Shedeur Sanders is as good as he is at quarterback? I believe Travis Hunter's the real deal.
Yeah.
I've never believed Shedeur is the real deal. If Shedeur doesn't have the name Sanders, if Shedeur's name is Berliner, I think he's getting drafted in the second or third round.
Maybe not even. at that
Maybe
point.
not even.
But
And so,
if you look at it, it still is a point. If you bring it up for Deion, Deion Sanders took that job not to send kids to the NFL. He took it to increase Deion Sanders' marketing, Deion Sanders' name. He took it so
agree.
that he could eventually work his way. It's the reason he did it. Don't tell me. I know people who've followed this guy for years and who have discussed a lot of this under the table. He has done this because he wants a route to the NFL. He doesn't give, and this is the opinion of many people I've talked to, he doesn't give a damn if Colorado succeeds in the next 5 years. They will probably, because they'll have another name that will be built up and players will want to come. But when Deion Sanders leaves that program, how many kids are going to want to transfer to get to see you? Not as many as you think. It's
No,
not an
not
attractive place to go for them.
No, it won't. And this is what's going to happen in college athletics. That's the danger of hiring the hired gun as the head coach. Once the hired gun checks out, you've lost everything. You're back to square one.
Maybe not back to square one, but you certainly aren't at the level that you were.
Yeah, and by the way, to your point, the level that the Colorado was 2 years, it was this year or 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they start like 3-0. And including me, everyone went, I'm like, holy shit, this is working for Deion, because I think they beat TCU. And they wind up absolutely crashing and burning back down to earth.
Right.
Last year, they had a very good season. Little falter at the end, but they're in the running for the Big 12 champion to play in the Big 12 championship game. Then they get the bowl game, crashed and burned back down to earth in the Alamo Bowl. Absolutely crashed and burned. It was god awful. They got absolutely dump trucked.
But why?
Probably checked out.
The players were checked out.
Players are checked out.
They weren't playing for the national championship. The players are worried about the NIL money. They're worried about their NFL status. The players are all thinking about the transfer portal. And that's what happens when you get involved in the current era of college football. If you're not playing in that playoff, and if you've basically wound up in the second and third tier, you've not only got coaches that maybe are not doing their best job, you got players that are checking out because they go, what do I want to get injured for? I want to play in a third-rate game. I want to take a chance at my NFL status and break a knee or take a concussion. That's the problem that you're in right now, and that's why you'll get to those games that won't mean shit to these players anymore.
I remember the first time. I remember when Christian McCaffrey pulled out of the Rose Bowl for Stanford, and I think he was the first player who was not in a playoff. And he pulled out of a major bowl. And I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is a bowl game. Growing up, my dad asked me to grab the TV from upstairs in his bedroom, and we had two TVs side by side. And when Socket, Rhode Island, you say side by each. We had them side by side because that was back when you could put NBC had a game at 1 and 4, and then the Orange Bowl at 8. ABC had the Sugar Bowl at 8. You could have all the bowl games on at the same time. We put two televisions to watch two games all at the same time.
Because bowl games meant something to the fans, they meant something to the boosters, but they meant something to the players. They don't mean shit anymore unless you're playing for a national title.
I agree. And Christian McCaffrey was the first one that I remember who said, I'm out. I'm going to think about myself for the NFL.
And I don't, you know something? Back then, I remember this. It was like, oh, what the hell's wrong with you, kid? You got to get in there and play. You got to go play for your team. Now, 2025, hey, you're doing the smart thing, because if you get busted, and how many times, I'm trying to remember, I think it was, and this goes back a long, long time, where in a bowl game, Melvin Bratton for the University of Miami
in 87
was in a bowl game, and he got wrecked his knee, I believe it was, in a game that really meant nothing, cost him his career. Bratton was the guy
it won Miami a national championship.
Won Miami a national championship, but I'm talking about Bratton's career.
But for Bratton, correct. Because so hang on, I love.
And there's a lot of kids out there whose careers, whose possibilities in the NFL have been ruined because they got wrecked in a game that meant absolutely nothing.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
So I say for these kids, go. I mean, I'm all with it. You want to take the bowl game off? Take the bowl game off. Fans can scream all you want, but that's your livelihood for the rest of your life.